92.3 FM.
Money Talks.
Money Talk.
Money Talks. Money Talks.
Hi, my name is Ibukun Oyedeji, President CFA Society Nigeria. Join me and a host of other financial industry practitioners every Monday at 4:30 p.m. right here on Inspiration 92.3 FM for Money Talks with CFA Society Nigeria.
Money Talks, airing on this station every Monday at 4:30 p.m. from January 2023. Money Talks with CFA Society Nigeria. Let's talk about money.
If you've made a decision to aim for a long-term and successful finance career, taking the Chartered Financial Analyst CFA exam and studying the curriculum is an excellent way to ensure you have a strong knowledge base and top-notch skills. Are you ready to take the bold step to invest in yourself? CFA Society Nigeria is at your disposal, promoting the highest standards of investment practice in Nigeria. As an affiliate of CFA Institute, CFA Society Nigeria seeks to promote the highest standards of investment practice in Nigeria and to provide a vibrant community in which its members and other key players in the investment industry can interact and grow. When you have the CFA charter, you're globally recognized. Take advantage today by writing the CFA exam and joining us at CFA Society Nigeria. For more information, visit us at cfasocietynг.org. CFA Society Nigeria, making finance a force for good.
Money Talks.
Money Talk.
Money Talks. Money Talks. Money Talks with CFA Society Nigeria. Let's talk about money. Hello everyone and welcome to Money Talks here on 92.3 Inspiration FM. Captain Smart is my name. It's so good to have you on the program again this Monday. It's the 22nd of May 2023 and today we have a very special guest in the studio. I'll be introducing her in just a moment. Today we're talking about budgeting and expense tracking as tools for financial growth. That is it, budgeting and expense tracking as tools for financial growth. That's our topic for today. My guest on the show is Elizabeth Ekpo. Elizabeth Ekpo is a chartered financial analyst with over 11 years experience in the financial sector. She has worked in the Nigerian capital market in various capacities and in 2018 was recognized by the Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) for her contribution to the growth and development of the Nigerian capital market. She is currently a senior manager with PwC in the capital markets and accounting advisory, the team where she supports government and development institutions across Africa to build strong and transparent capital markets, as well as advise firms on their capital market strategy, in addition to supporting them to access domestic and international capital markets to meet their strategic goals and objectives. Elizabeth holds a master's degree in financial economics from the University of Sheffield in the UK and is an associate member of the Chartered Institute of Stockbrokers in Nigeria. She is the chair of programming and event at CFA Society Nigeria, where she is an active volunteer. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome the very beautiful Elizabeth Ekpo to the studio. I feel like calling you Lizzie, eh? I'm sure they call you Lizzie somewhere.
Yeah, a lot of people call me Lizzie actually.
I'm in the spirit. I'm in the money spirit.
Yeah, you need to be in the money spirit, right? Because we're here to talk money, right?
Yeah, we're going to talk money. Elizabeth, good to see you. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me today.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about that, budgeting and expense tracking as tools for financial growth. You don't want to miss that with the very beautiful Elizabeth Ekpo. We'll talk with her when we return from this break. Stay with us.
We are professionals. We are impact driven. We are CFA Society Nigeria. a member society of the CFA Institute Global Network of Societies. Our mission is to promote the highest standard of practice in the Nigerian financial services industry and provide a vibrant community for our members. The CFA Charter signals the holders' commitment to professional excellence. As thought leaders, we collaborate with stakeholders to ensure adherence to ethical standards, better education for professionals, and to build market integrity. We are the leading voice for advocacy in the finance and investment industry in Nigeria. To partner with us or become our member, visit us at cfasocietyng.org for more details. CFA Society Nigeria, making finance a force for good.
Money talks.
Money talk.
Money Talks. Money Talks.
Money Talks with CFA Society Nigeria. Let's talk about money.
That's right. Welcome back to the program. So good to have you there. Elizabeth Ekpo is my guest on the program this evening. And we're talking now budgeting and expense tracking as tools for financial growth. You can join us via the website www.cfasociety.org, cfasocietyng.org. That's how you can go to the website. On Twitter and Instagram, CFA Society NG on Instagram and on Twitter. If you need any information on any of our past editions, you can also send us messages via that platform. But while we're here, in case you have questions or clarifications to make, or you want to make a contribution to the program, you can call the number 0817 313 6193. That's 0817 313 6193. Or you can call 0700 923 923 923. That's 0700 923 923 923. So let's get to it. Lizzie, one more time, good to have you.
Thank you for having me.
So let's talk budgeting and expense tracking. These are vital tools for financial growth. Financial success is said to be partly hinged on being financially literate enough, just like what we're doing here. This is about financial literacy in making good financial decisions. And this in turn is of course dependent on a number of core principles, many of which on this program in previous editions we have identified by those who have come here to speak on those issues on this program. And they're just aimed at deepening the literacy of people and the listeners on finances. So two of these principles that we're discussing today are budgeting and expense tracking. So we'll take them one after the other because they're very, very important. So let's start by asking you, Lizzie, what exactly is budgeting on the one hand and expense and then tracking them?
Okay, so I'm going to say budgeting is basically a plan that maps out your income versus your expenses over a period of time. So generally you can say it's a planned estimation of your expenses over a period of time, and that period of time can be either on a monthly or on a weekly or even on an annual basis. So companies would typically want to go the annual route, but as an individual you're allowed to do what works for you. And the budget is also a living document, meaning it's flexible and it's expected that it will evolve over time as your needs changes, as your situation changes, and as you grow in your financial journey. Tracking of expense, on the other hand, is actually taking out time to identify and putting together where you have actually spent your money. So over a period of time, weekly, monthly, quarterly, or annual as well. And what that helps you do is be able to identify your spending habits, identify where your money is actually going to and what you have spent money on during that period of time.
So if I may ask you now, these two concepts, are they related in any way, or are they different? Are they similar? Because many times people use them interchangeably, or whenever they're talking about budgeting, there's expense by the side,
Yeah, so they are related because they reinforce one another. So you can have a budget without tracking, but what you then lose is that you don't know if you're succeeding in your budget or not. So you can measure success or failure. If you track your expenses without having a budget, then you don't know if you're overspending or underspending, or whether there are areas you can make improvement, because there's no reference point. So there's no benchmark. So the ideal thing is actually to incorporate the two in your financial journey towards financial freedom and stability, and also incorporating the two helps you maximize and extract maximum value towards meeting your financial goals.
So if I may now ask you, like in Nigeria, we'll talk about budget all the time. For some persons, when they are owing you money, especially in the beginning of the year, they will say they never sign budget. Oh boy, pay me my money. Say they don't sign budget.
Yes.
You never hear say they never sign budget.
And I think that's what everybody should do. As when someone comes to ask you for money, right? You can also tell them, "Oh, sorry, it's not in my budget. I didn't budget it for the month. I'll put it in the next budget," because there's always room for supplementary budget, right? And there's always room for you to make changes to your budget from time to time. But what budgeting does is put a discipline in you, so you have a fair idea of where you're going to, and you're able to say no. You know what to say no to and what to say yes to, and how you can actually track that journey over time.
So does it mean that individuals should have budgets as well, or is it just meant for corporate and maybe for government?
No, absolutely. I mean, that's what we're talking about today, personal finance, and it's very critical. In fact, the first step towards your financial journey and achieving your goals is to actually sit down and actually have a budget. Outline your goals and put a budget to it, and then you now begin to track how you're measuring vis-a-vis your goals and the budget that you have.
So the other angle, or the other hand to our discussion today, is the issue of financial growth. So what is financial growth? Is it the same measure for everyone?
Okay, so let's look at the word financial growth. We see that it's made up of two words. So the financial speaks to money, which is what we're talking about today. The growth speaks to increase in size over time. Right, so by the time you put the two together, you're saying financial growth. How does your money grow over time? So when we say financial growth, we're talking about the process of improving your finances over a period of time. Now, that will not necessarily be the same for everybody, because it's subject to where you are on your journey, subject to your lifestyle, and subject to the goals that you set for yourself. So someone who is freshly out of school and is just working for the first time, the level of growth that they would need to achieve their financial independence or freedom will probably be different for someone who has been working for 20, 30 years, even though they might have similar goals. But the same thing with someone who maybe comes into large inheritance today, or someone whose lifestyle is a bit more ostentatious than someone who basically is okay with having the basic necessity of life. You see that what they actually need to achieve what they need to achieve, that level of growth from where they are today to where they are, where they want to be, probably be different.
Just in case you want to join the program here, you want to talk to us here on Money Talks, we're discussing the topic this evening: budgeting and expense tracking as tools for financial growth, and this involves personal finance as well. If you want to call our number, 0817-313-6193, that's 0817-313-6193. You can also call 0700-923-923-923. That's 0700-923-923-923. Remember, the number to send a text message or WhatsApp message to is 0817-313-6193. You can also check out the social media handles of CFA Society Nigeria, and on Twitter or Instagram, CFA Society NG on Twitter or on Instagram, or you can go to the website www.cfasocietyng.org and get all the information you need there. You can also leave messages for us right there. I'm talking this evening with Elizabeth Ekpo, CFA, and we're talking budgeting and expense tracking as tools for financial growth. That's our topic for this evening. As we expect your calls, let's get back to Lizzie in the studio here. So, Lizzie, now that you have shed some light on these concepts, so how do they contribute to or affect financial growth? Okay, we'll have a call on the line. Let's just take this call before we go ahead. Hello, good evening to you. We lost the call there. You can call back on 0817-313-6193. That's 0817-313-6193, or call 0700-923-923-923. So Lizzie, you can go ahead now.
Okay, so for someone who is striving for financial growth, financial independence, or financial stability, budgeting and expense tracking is very important because it gives you control over your finances and gives you the data and the insights you need to make the informed decisions that you need to make. So having a budget and tracking your expense, you're able to see where you're spending most of your money.
Okay, Lizzie, just hold your thought. Hello, good evening to you. Hello, can you hear me? Oh, okay. You can call the alternate number 0817 313 6193. That's your alternate number 0817 313 6193. Okay, go ahead, Lizzie.
Yes, so we're talking about the importance of budgeting and expense tracking as a tool for financial growth. And I was saying that these habits are important because they enable you to take control of your finances. Also, by tracking your expense, by having a budget, you can see how far or how close you are to achieving your financial goals. You're able to make the necessary decisions. You're able to make an informed decisions, right? To be able to see where you need to cut down on your expenses. You're able to identify even frivolous expenses that you can take out so that you can be able to save and also invest more. So that's important of why we need to have these habits.
Hello, good evening to you. The calls keep dropping. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Thank you so much for calling. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Okay, my name is Neka, and I'm calling from BI.
Welcome, Neka.
Okay, so I'd like to ask our speaker here one question. So far, in a man, an individual who is single, doesn't cook, but has to, align his expenses in line with his earnings. Now, how would you advise that person to manage having to spend money for food outside of cooking? So what I'm trying to say is that amount that you're going to spend having to eat out, and when you eat out there, sometimes you crave a lot and you eat more than what you budgeted for per day. How do you manage such a situation? What's your advice to such an individual?
Neka, thank you so much. So you listen over the radio for the answer. Elizabeth will be answering the question. 0817 313 6193, the number to call, or you can call 0700 923 923 923. Don't forget, you can also send messages to 0817 313 6193. So Lizzie, go ahead.
Okay, so to respond to that question by Neka, by also asking that question, she somehow answers herself because she already said you're already spending so much eating out, and also you've already identified that that's a problem, right? And that's the importance of tracking your expense, because you're tracking that expense. You can see at a glance how much you're actually spending eating out. Now, because you want to take control of your finances, you now have to make decisions that are best for you. So you compare that vis-a-vis how much you're earning, and then compare that with what it would take for you to be eating in once in a while and cooking for yourself. And it is more cost effective for you to cook. Of course, you have to consider yourself and say, of course, I have a plan, I have a goal. If I need to meet this goal and this is what I need to do, then you have to discipline yourself to put yourself under the regiment of finding time to cook so that you can have homemade meals and spend less eating out. That's what I would say. And
this guy is a bachelor, so who warms the food? He goes to work, maybe he doesn't get back, food is spoiled, he spends more money.
There are different things you can do to help yourself. You can have a fridge, right? So you put your meals in the fridge
to preserve
them. You can cook on weekends when you're not at work, so it's easy to just come microwave and you have something to go. And that does not mean you will not spoil yourself once in a while eating out. Having this discipline and tracking your expense and being on the budget doesn't mean you will now live a frugal lifestyle. It just shows you that you can't do this day in, day out on a consistent basis, and you're able to identify if you're eating out, say 5 days a week, maybe you want to eat out once a week or once a month, and you're saving more money that you can use for more productive things.
Or he can just marry to save himself all the stress of trying to go to cook and all of that.
Well, is cooking a reason why you should get married? That's a different conversation.
It's one of the reasons. We're Africans. This is not happening in Sheffield. This is Lagos, Nigeria.
the Twitter guys will drag you on this.
We're not in Sheffield, please. This is Lagos, Nigeria.
The Gen Zs will drag you on this. And they say if you need someone to cook, get a chef, right? Not a wife.
Oh, yeah. So, Lizzie, I was going to ask you when you were explaining all of the benefits and all of that. So, would you say, from where you sit now as a professional, that these tools are must-haves, or is it just maybe something just nice to have?
No, for anyone who is seeking financial growth and looking to have a more stable financial future, they're not negotiable, right? They're must-have. They're not just nice to have. They're things that you actually have to discipline yourself to do so that you can get to where you want to go to. Yeah. So they're must-haves.
I'm glad you talked about frugality there, because I was going to ask you, are you sure this thing will not make you to become stingy? You're always tracking, you're always checking, you're auditing, you've turned to a personal auditor.
Yes.
You make a call, you check your balance. You buy something, you check your bank balance and all of that.
Well, I think it depends on the way you are looking at it and how much the goals that you want to achieve are important to you. It doesn't necessarily mean you make every call, you check your balance. It just means you can say, how much am I spending on calls every month? So if I'm spending 50,000 naira on calls every month, I have to ask myself, okay, is there a better way of doing this? Can I invest more in data? Data is cheaper these days. You can make more WhatsApp calls. Or is there a way I can cut down on those calls? Then instead of spending 2 hours on the phone, I can just go straight to the point, say what I want to say, and use more of SMSs to send, to communicate with people, emails, communicate to reduce that cost. So basically, just identifying that, look, I'm spending too much here, or I'm paying for something I don't need. From some people, they'll pay for gym membership, they never go to the gym. Is that an expense that needs to keep hitting your account every day? There was a time I was paying for DSTV, I was never watching it. So we had to make the hard decision to say, okay, I think we need to stop paying for this because we're out of the house from morning to evening. We come back, we're tired. We'd rather just get our news on YouTube, Twitter, and all that. So it didn't make sense to just continue paying for that. But if we're not tracking, then we wouldn't see that, oh, look, this expense is just here. And then when the time comes when we really need to, have that expense again, because we think maybe during vacation or during holiday, when the kids are on holiday, we can actually reactivate that again. So that means we've saved some money for 3 months, 2-3 months, and then we pay for it when we need to use. So that tracking that expense is really important. You'll be surprised how much you can really save by just having data on where you're actually spending most of your money.
I'm sure you didn't have a football fan at home who we need to see games on Saturdays and Sundays, and sometimes midweek. That's by the way, actually, So, Lizzie, they say that whatever does not get measured, cannot be controlled. There's every avenue that you're going to abuse that thing if you don't check it and track it. So the big ask now is, how does one actually practically and regularly budget and monitor one's expenses, especially now that there's paucity of funds?
Yes, so I would say it comes with first realizing that it's a discipline that you need to inculcate in your habits, right? So you tell yourself, I'm intentional about taking control of my financial well-being. And so after making that decision, you realize that there are so many tools out there. Thanks to technology, you don't have to go the traditional approach of pen and paper, but if that works for you, that's also fine. But there's so many apps and so many tools out there these days that you can actually use to budget and also to track your expense. The only difference is that you actually have to sit down and actually put values or make inputs into those apps, because it's a function of how much you put in that you can then get the required insights that you need to make those informed decisions. So you actually have to make out time. What I always say is, why don't you set a meeting with yourself, either on a weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly basis, where you actually take out 1 hour to 2 hours and actually really do that budget. You have to actually sit down and write the budget, and then you have to actually sit down and say, this is how much I spent on food this week, this is how much I spent on my subscriptions, this is how much I spent on my phone bill, and actually put them down, and then you're able to have a clear picture of where your money is going to, if you are meeting your budget, or if you are underspending or overspending, and then areas where you need to make adjustments. Or even as your life situation changes, right, then you need to tweak your budget to suit that circumstances. So I'll say be intentional first, to leverage technology, digital tools, or with your traditional approach of pen and paper, and then actually put a time on your calendar to actually sit down and do the work.
Lizzie, is this for the big boys, like the upper class, or maybe the upper middle class? Because somebody might just be asking there. No, be person where get money, they do budget.
But if you're, like I said, the things you do when you're small are the discipline that helps you, when you grow big, right? So even when you don't have, or as much as you think you don't have, having that discipline now will help you, be able to maintain that discipline even when you don't have a lot. How do you think the rich people also know that, why am I spending so much here? Because somewhere in their brain it is ticking off that, look, this expense is getting higher than I thought or I expected I should be spending on this type of thing. And most times they can afford to get an accountant, right? That gives them a picture of that. So be your own accountant.
We can afford to squeeze in one more call here because of time. So the number to call in case you have a question for Lizzie, you can tell she's a professional and she really knows what she's talking about. So she can give you some free consultations while she's here in the studio. But when she's out, I'm afraid you have to pay consultation fees. So you can take advantage of Money Talks here on 92.3 Inspiration FM to get that free consultation. Call the number 08173136193. Hello, good evening to you.
Hi, good evening.
Thank you so much for calling. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Yeah, my name is Olayemi. I'm a member of the society and I just decided to encourage Elizabeth for doing a wonderful job.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Olayemi.
Have a nice day.
God bless you for listening. Thank you so much. Our village people have come. Our community people have come.
We're always watching out for each other.
Yeah, big shout out to you and all the members of CFA, all the charter holders. Thank you so much. So, Lizzie, before we go, let me ask you, what are the financial goals are there for individuals? Do they even, stay the same throughout a person's lifetime, or is it a topsy-turvy stuff?
So I think we should first start with what are financial goals.
Yeah.
They are set objectives that you intend to achieve over a period of time, or set targets that you are looking to achieve. And no, they don't stay constant throughout the period of time, because as you grow and as your situation changes, your goals will also change as well. So someone in their 20s, for instance, probably is looking at 20 or early 30s, you're looking at building wealth. So what's important to you at that time is how do you upskill, how do you advance your career, how do you advance your education so that you can improve or increase your capacity to earn more. By the time you start going into your early 30s and 40s, you're talking about asset accumulation. You're looking at buying a home. You're looking at sending your kids to school if you've started a family. You're looking at setting a trust fund for your kids and all that. By the time you're going to your 40s or 50s, you're already thinking about how do you wealth preservation, estate planning, and things like that, and also asset protection at that stage. By the time you get into 50, you're now thinking of legacy, retirement, and how to set up a legacy for yourself. So you see that these goals change as you grow older and as your financial situation changes. So if someone comes into a large inheritance today, their financial goal probably different from someone who is starting from ground zero. Yes. So these goals don't stay constant; they change as your situation changes and as you grow older.
So what has budgeting got to do with borrowing? Because, like in Nigeria, the moment you mention budget, the next thing is how much are we going to borrow? Where are we going to get money to fund this budget?
Because if you recall when we started this session, we asked what is budgeting, and we said it's mapping out your income versus your expense. So you are going to be looking at how much do I have, and then what are my expenses, right? So if you don't have enough income to match your expenses, then you either reduce your expense, or you increase your income, or you borrow to supplement. Now, with personal finance, you want to be careful with borrowing, because you have to use borrowing or use debt strategically, meaning you have to use it to grow wealth so that the returns on that investment can pay off the debts and also leave something for you as a profit, which you can then grow as well, which is one of the challenges we're having in Nigeria. You see that because they're saying all the debt we have incurred over the years, we are not making enough, it's not yielding enough revenue for us to use and pay back. Instead, we're using new monies that we would have used for more capital-intensive projects to pay our debt.
That's right. Thank you so much, Elizabeth Ekpo It's been a very, very, very lively evening with you here in the studio. We've learnt a lot, and I'm sure with the listener out there as well. Elizabeth Ekpo is Senior Manager with PwC, this PricewaterhouseCoopers.
Yes.
There's this late caller. Hello, good evening to you. Oh, we lost that one again. So Elizabeth Ekpo is Senior Manager with PwC in the Capital Market and Accounting Advisory Team. Her caps are many. She is also the chair of programming and events at CFA Society Nigeria, where she is also an active volunteer. Elizabeth Ekpo, thank you so much for coming this evening.
Thank you very much, Captain.
Really appreciate you.
Me.
Elizabeth is fine, and she's very intelligent as well. They say that intelligent girls are not as beautiful, but this is a combination.
Thank you so much for the compliments.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
And that's our package for today. We're back next Monday at 4:30 p.m. here on Money Talks, hoping that you find time to join us at that time. Captain Smart is my name. Have a good evening.